It's time to get your news on. This broadcast is in text, audio and video and is accessed on wia.org.au.
Hey, congratulations. You've hit the right switch. You've got the WIA National News for week commencing May 4, 2025, the weekend of the WIA AGM. And this week, VK1WIA delves into the IARU after their 100-year celebrations. VK1WIA has an in-depth look at a Queensland State School Radio Club, a big secret, and in real depth, WIA President VK3KJ and this weekend's WIA AGM in Bendigo. Now wait, there's more, much more in this edition of news from your WIA. I'm Editor Graham, VK4 Baker.
We are VK1WIA. Now, operational news with VK4 FUQ. Felix.
Hello there. Now, contest-wise 2025. May 17-18 is East Sangster Shield. QRP CW on 80 metres, wind back the rig to give 5 watts and give it a go. Don Edwards Memorial Slow Morse Contest, May 17-18, 80 metres on the evening of Saturday 17th May, and 40 metres the afternoon of Sunday 18. VK Shires Contest, 7th and 8th June. NZ Straight Key Night, Sunday 8 June, 0800 hours to 0900 hours, UTC on 80 metres. VHF UHF Field Days, Winter 2025. Saturday 21 June through Sunday 22 June. The field days provide VHF UHF operators with the opportunity to head for the hills and see how far distant and how many stations they can work. The field days have separate sections for single and multiple operator stations. The duration of the field day is 24 hours, but there are also 8-hour sections for operators who may not be able to camp overnight. Notably, most club stations prefer to operate for the full 24 hours. IARUHF World Championship. The 24-hour IARUHF World Championship starts Saturday 12 July and ends on Sunday 13 July. Trans-Tasman Low Bend Contest 19 July. Only contest bands 160, 80 and 40 metres are allowed with SSB, CW and RITI or PSK. IOTA Contest 2025, 19 July. RSGB IOTA Contest, July 26 to July 27. Remembrance Day Contest, 16th and 17th of August. Now the DX window to the world. Well, you may not be allowed to work them, but you may hear them. Once again, Italian radio amateurs have been authorised to use the 40 MHz band until the end of the year. They are allowed to operate from 40.660 MHz to 40.700 MHz with a maximum power of 10 watts. The Italian regulator has also given permission until 31 December also for 70.1, 70.2 and 70.3 MHz. Just last week, Jason, VK2LAW, brought us news of the special event station in Japan, 8K3 EXPO. Now word of another station celebrating this expo in the Kansai Kingi region, JA3XPO. This station, JA3XPO, is a mobile commemorative station that will travel to each of the Kansai prefectures. The call sign, originally used for the 1970 Japan World Exposition in Osaka, has been revived after 55 years. Both 8K3 EXPO and JA3XPO are on the air now and conclude at World Expo's end, October 13, the full duration of the expo. A very large number of Russian stations using the special prefix RP80 are QRV now until May 9 to mark the 80th anniversary of the end of World War II. The Guernsey Amateur Radio Society will operate special event station GU80 LIB on 9-11 May to celebrate the 80th anniversary of the liberation of the Channel Islands at the end of World War II. For WIA National News, I'm Felix, VK4FUQ, Edingham.
We are VK1WIA. Now, international news with VK2LAW Jason.
Hello. The RSGB participated in the International Amateur Radio Union Region 1 interim meeting in Paris last weekend. The event was of particular historical significance as it coincides with the centenary of the founding of the IARU in 1925, as well as the 75th anniversary of the establishment of IARU Region 1 in 1950. The French Host Society, REF, is also marking its 100th anniversary. This year's meeting in Paris reflected a broader scope than in previous years and, for the first time, includes youth matters on the agenda. It also covers the usual focus areas of HF, VHF, UHF and microwave, and also electromagnetic compatibility. The RSGB has been a key contributor to the meeting, submitting papers that include future options for the 23-centimetre band and the harmonisation and protection of HF bands. 3 delegates from the RSGB attended the meeting, including newly appointed RSGB President Bob Beebe, Golf Uniform 4, Yankee Oscar X-Ray. The meeting served as both a celebration of amateur radio's rich heritage and a forward-looking forum to address the challenges and opportunities facing the global amateur radio community. In celebration of IARU's centenary, the RSGB has created a webpage to share information about its part in the celebrations. This includes a link to an RSGB archive video from the IARU meeting in Paris in 1950, as well as the RSGB's July 1925 T&R Bulletin that contains an announcement detailing the formation of the IARU. Web URLs in the text edition of Australia's ham radio news service. Barry Lewis, Golf 4 Sierra Juliet Hotel honoured at Paris IARU meeting. Congratulations to Barry Lewis, Golf 4 Sierra Juliet Hotel, who has been given the IARU Diamond Award at the IARU Region 1 interim meeting in Paris. The award is given to an IARU volunteer of long standing who has provided services over a significant number of years and shown exceptional diligence during a long period of service. In addition to his work for the IARU, Barry volunteers as the RSGB Microwave Manager. And still with the IARU News, the International Amateur Radio Union, which has just marked the 100th anniversary of its founding, is using the occasion to look within and to consider a way it can be reconstructed. The IARU's Administrative Council has released a consultation containing an overview and a number of proposals. Region 2, which covers North, Central and South America, will be hosting 2 informational meetings on the Zoom platform where Region 2 societies can discuss the document, ask questions or recommend changes early May. For WIA National News, in Sydney, I'm Jason, VK2LAW.
From here, there and everywhere, you've tuned to the Wireless Institute of Australia's National News Service. We are VK1WIA. Now, special interest group news with Bruce, VK3FFF.
And a very good day to you. Worldwide special interest groups, digital. While ham radio operators have been embracing digital mobile radio, DMR, the equipment is most often bought since, at least in early incarnations, it needs a proprietary codec to convert speech to digital and vice versa. But Q Radio Link decided to tackle a homebrew and open-source DMR modem. The setup uses a Lime SDR, GNU radio and Codec 2. There are some other open DMR projects such as OpenRTX, so it is hopeful there are going to be more choices. The DMR modem, however, is only a proof of concept and reuses the MMDVM host code to do the data link layer. You might enjoy a video. The link is shown in the text edition of this, the WIA National News Service. Worldwide special interest groups, balloons. Dr. Hank Prunken, VK5XB, penned us a note through the week, and given the overlap with interests in amateur radio, especially where GPS tracking, high-altitude ballooning and environmental sustainability intersect, he believes this will interest WIA National News viewers and listeners. Researchers seek sustainable solutions as weather balloon waste emerges.
Recent beach cleanup efforts in Warrnambool, on Victoria's southwest coast, have revealed an unexpected environmental issue: debris from weather balloons washing ashore. Volunteers have discovered remnants, including foam boxes with GPS and battery packs, launched from the Kennook/Cape Grim Baseline Air Pollution Station in Tasmania as part of an international climate research initiative. Though these weather balloons are crucial for atmospheric data collection, their leftover components pose risks to marine ecosystems. Colleen Hewson of Warrnambool Beach Patrol noted increased sightings, prompting concerns about environmental sustainability. Scientists are testing more eco-friendly alternatives to reduce ecological impact without compromising research. The incident underlines the need to balance essential climate science with responsible environmental practices. Hank Prunkin, VK1WIA.
Worldwide Special Interest Groups Final Frontier. NASA's annual Student Launch Challenge will bring middle school, high school and college students from around the US together to launch high-powered rockets and payloads on Saturday, May the 3rd. This will go all day or until the last rocket launches. Student teams will convene for the agency's 25th annual challenge at Bragg Farms, Alabama, near NASA's Marshall Space Flight Center in Huntsville. Live streaming will begin at 11:20 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time on NASA Marshall YouTube. Worldwide Special Interest Groups Radio Amateur Old-Timers. Let's head west.
Hello everyone, this is Clive of VK6CSW, reminding you that tomorrow is the first Monday of the month, time for the Radio Amateurs Old Timers Club of Australia's May Bulletin to go to air. Perth members and friends are advised that this month's monthly luncheon will be held at the new venue of the 7 Mile Bar and Bistro, 501 Wanneroo Road, Balcatta. Full details can be found by visiting the new and much improved RAOTC website. Just put RAOTC in your favourite search engine, then navigate to Lunches. Be sure to check the club website for booking and travel information. This month we're offering another historic item from Alan Doble, VK3AMD. The latest club news will be included in the June Bulletin. Everyone, RAOTC members and non-members alike, is most welcome to listen in and to join in the callbacks afterwards. Full details of all transmissions, times, modes and frequencies can be found on the RAOTC website. Please note that the 10-metre transmission from VK8MA now starts at 0400 Zulu. If none of the transmission times suit you, you can download the audio file at any time from today from the club website. 7-3 from Clive, VK6CSW.
Thanks, Clive. And now, once again, tune in tomorrow for the May RAOTC Bulletin. Enjoy the program and please join them in the callbacks afterwards. Worldwide Special Interest Groups Radio Amateur Young Timers. YOTA, Youngsters on the Air. Kari State School in Queensland has their own radio club. And with the details, Alec, VK2MV.
Thank you, Bruce. Stuart Dunk, VK4SDD, wrote to the WIA news station to tell us about this exciting news. In October 2019, David, VK4DNF, and Stuart were involved with the Tablelands Regional Council Get Ready Queensland program. This program runs workshops for Year 5 and Year 6 students to help them understand what emergency services do in a disaster. The program also teaches the children what they and what their families can do to prepare and to help minimize the impact disasters can have on them. David and Stuart ran a session on introducing the idea of two-way radios as a way to get help when traditional methods such as mobile phones and landlines are unavailable. It was at one of those sessions that a teacher expressed an interest in amateur radio. When told of the technical nature of the amateur service, the discussion turned to STEM and benefits to the Kari State School Year 5 and Year 6 enrichment program. A plan that involved to run amateur radio training sessions as part of the enrichment program. The goal was to bring the students and teacher up to a high enough level to attempt a foundation license assessment. Stuart ran training sessions as an advisor to the teacher for 1 hour a week in Term 1, 2022. Very quickly, the students became interested in the technical and practical aspects of amateur radio. From those beginnings, the Kari State School Radio Club VK4KSS was born. Thanks to Tablelands Regional Council's Senior Disaster Management Advisor Sarah Dean, VK4SLD, the council donated 15 UV-5R handheld radios, an ICOM IC 7300 transceiver, a power supply, broadband dipole and mast, all paid for with grant funding from Resilience Queensland. For more on the Kari State School Radio Club and their achievements, you will have to read about it in a future edition of AR Magazine. Please keep those VK Yoda stories coming in. And for WIA National News, I'm Alec, VK2MV, and for this week only in Bendigo.
Thanks, Alec. Worldwide Special Interest Groups Rescue Radio. Over 280 amateur radio operators volunteered during the 129th running of the Boston Marathon last month. Operators were working at virtually every location connected with the race, including the starting line, the entire course and the finish line, transportation and various operation centres, including the Massachusetts Emergency Management Agency, the State EOC Unified Command Centre and the BAA Race Operations Centre in Boston. Bob Macedo, KD1CY of the Boston Athletic Association Communications Committee, said, "This is one of the largest public service events amateur radio supports in the United States, and planning started over 6 months in advance." I'm Bruce, VK3FFF from sunny Bendigo.
From here, there and everywhere, you've tuned to the Wireless Institute of Australia's National News Service on VK1WIA.
This is WIA President Scott Williams, VK3KJ, and welcome to all listeners to the WIA news broadcast this week. This weekend has been a huge couple of days for the WIA, with our AGM taking place in Bendigo, Victoria at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Saturday the 3rd of May. The AGM was held in conjunction with the Bendigo Amateur Radio and Electronics Club, BARAC, who are holding a technology festival on the Sunday the 4th of May at the Bendigo Showgrounds. The AGM was held at the beautiful historic Shamrock Hotel and was also made available via Microsoft Teams, so it was great to connect with so many members across Australia and some from around the world. I would like to read to you my President's address at the AGM. It not only covers the performance of the WIA, but also outlines important activities of the WIA throughout 2024. More importantly, it acknowledges the wonderful contribution of so many people who make the WIA the trusted peak body of amateur radio in Australia. My address. Like last year, I'm going to keep my President's report short and to the point, as there are already a considerable amount of information that has been supplied within the annual report, and I'm mindful there is still a fair bit to get through today. As reported, the WIA membership dropped to 2,908 members in 2024. This is a reduction of 24 members on 2023. This reduction also included 23 members that sadly became silent keys. The WIA acknowledges the difficult 12 months of 2024 with significant cost of living pressures, and this is one of the reasons the board resolved in 2024 to freeze membership fees at $95 for another year. It is now 10 years, in fact, 2014, since membership fees were last increased, despite the Institute absorbing significant increases in operating expenses over this time. We acknowledge the loss of some members, about 0.8% if you remove silent keys. However, the board believe that challenging economic times, despite this small loss is disappointing, it is also understandable. Of the 24 members that did not renew their membership, many cited that it was for financial reasons. Many also said they would reactivate their membership in the future when cost of living pressures reduce. I'm pleased to report that as of last week, the WIA had 2,942 members. That is more than in 2023 and, of course, more than in 2024. So our membership is trending in the right direction. We're currently seeing around 10 new members each month, and again, it's pleasing to see the return of some past members. We've made some advancement in our IT systems, and in November 2024, automated renewals and reminders were implemented. This was previously a very manual-driven process with considerable time spent. However, the new process has improved consistency and reduced resource time internally. One of the next projects is to introduce payment instalments for membership, which we hope will assist our members financially. The goal will be to allow members to pay in instalments automatically via direct debit or credit card. We hope to have this operational in the coming months, and we had hoped to commence this new benefit from the start of 2025, but unfortunately this project was delayed. The WIA also commenced development of our new website. Work is well underway, and a South Australian-based company is undertaking the development work. The current WIA website is complex, busy, and not a very friendly site to navigate. The new site will have a fresh contemporary look with easy navigation and will be user-friendly. Content is being populated in the background as we speak, and the site will be launched sometime in the coming months. I'm delighted to report the WIA has reported a modest surplus of $23,429 and also closed with a net asset position at the 31st of December 2024 of $923,615, up from $475,186 in 2023. The material change in our net asset position is due to the re-evaluation of the WIA National Office located in Bayswater, Victoria. The building was professionally valued in 2024 at $850,000, where previously it was shown in our balance sheet valued at $425,000. I'd like to again acknowledge the generous bequest provided by the late Henry Anderson, VK1WIA, who allowed the WIA to invest in a building and build today what is a very strong financial position with a balance sheet approaching $1 million in net equity. The WIA also has a strong cash position of around $350,000 made up of cash on hand and term deposits, placing us in a very strong position. The WIA has never been in better financial shape, and even taking into account membership fees received in advance, our financial position is strong. The WIA continues to take its role very seriously as exclusive member of the ITU and IARU from Australia. Attendance at events continues to be financially demanding on the WIA. However, we do this to represent and protect your interest in the amateur radio community. In 2024, the WIA funded Peter Young, VK3MV, as a delegate of the WIA to attend the IARU Region 3 conference in Bangkok. The WIA thanks Peter for his contribution and efforts to represent the WIA. Several WIA directors also took part remotely as observers to the conference. I would personally like to thank Dale Hughes, VK1DSH, Peter Bacorni, VK2EMR, and Peter Young, VK3MV, for their ongoing support to the WIA and for all the work they do with the ITU and IARU, representing Australia's interest for all amateur radio operators. Can I also thank Noel Higgins, VK3NH, for his work with Standards Australia. I'd also like to acknowledge the wonderful work of Graham Kemp, VK4BB, with bringing you the broadcast every week without fail. Roger Harrison, VK2ZRH, and the PubCom Committee for bringing you the AR magazine on time, every time, and a special mention to the Education Committee chaired by Amanda Hawes, VK1WX, for their outstanding work in the education area in 2024. The other huge task in 2024 was WIA's submission to the ACMA on-class licensing. The WIA spent considerable effort consulting the amateur radio community, gaining feedback from surveys, holding online briefing sessions, and of course submitting a very comprehensive and balanced response. Not all areas of class licence introduction has been smooth sailing, and there continues to be some areas of concern that have been identified. The WIA will continue to work with the ACMA on hopefully a positive resolution. Just in the past weeks, we have undertaken a comprehensive survey with over 1,300 individuals participating, which allowed the WIA to make a further submission with clear evidence to the ACMA on areas that needed addressing. The lack of authoritative call sign certificates and the lack of an online register have been areas that the WIA has made a strong submission to the ACMA seeking change. There was also a huge amount of work in 2024 in documenting the repeater and beacon licence frequency coordination standards known as RALI AA1, AA2, AA3 and AA4. The work on these documents, which required the approval of the ACMA to be published, was tireless, and I'd like to acknowledge the work of the WIA Technical Advisory Committee chaired by Grant Willis, VK1WIA. I don't want to single out one individual, however, the work undertaken by Grant Willis was outstanding, and I know it involved many months of work. Thank you, Grant, and to all of the committee that contributed. May I also acknowledge and thank the Spectrum Strategy Committee for all the work you've done through 2024, chaired by Justin Giles Clark, VK7TW. The work of the Technical Advisory Committee, Spectrum Strategy Committee and Regulatory Liaison Group, also chaired by Justin, has allowed the WIA to become a trusted voice and strong advocate for amateur radio. In closing, I'd like to take this opportunity to express my thanks to my fellow board members for their ongoing support of the WIA. I would also like to thank the tremendous contribution and effort of all of our committee members and volunteers. There are several hundred volunteers that day after day, week after week step up to serve the amateur radio community here in Australia. I cannot express strongly enough, and I've said this before and I will continue to say it, our success is due to our strong membership base and the wonderful volunteers that work tirelessly in the background. By supporting the WIA, it enables the Institute to represent you and evolve amateur radio in Australia at every level. As a volunteer-based not-for-profit organisation, the WIA is always seeking the skills of members that can extend the scope, efficiency and effectiveness of the WIA. We openly encourage suggestions for improvement and invite constructive feedback. It is volunteers with a passion for the expansion, reinvention and relevance of the hobby that will see us enjoy further success as the WIA continue our march to our second centenary anniversary. So please continue to provide feedback, but more importantly, please be prepared to put your hand up and help. Good things happen when people turn up to participate. Remember that the WIA is your trusted voice within the amateur radio community, and our voice is amplified with great impact and effectiveness with your support. I personally thank every member for your ongoing loyalty and membership of the WIA. It has been my pleasure to serve you as the President of the WIA in 2024, and I look forward to the year ahead. I remain immensely proud of the WIA and grateful for the opportunity to lead the national peak body for amateur radio in Australia with 110 years of proud history. Sincerely, Scott Williams. Look, that's it for me. I'll be back next week on the broadcast outlining a range of merit awards that were presented at the AGM to some significant contributors. But again, thank you for listening today. This has been Scott Williams, WIA President, on behalf of the WIA Board.
This news originates from the Wireless Institute of Australia. Dreaming, believing, achieving.
And with that, we wrap up the WIA National News. One on the social scene left for this month, May 10, it's the Moorabbin District Amateur Radio Club's Hamfest, happens at 10 a.m, as I said, May 10. Now until next we meet, I'm Graham VK4 Baker. Walk softly.
From Australia, this has been the Wireless Institute of Australia with the weekly news service. This broadcast is in text, audio and video and is accessed on wia.org.au.
Courtesy of Bevan, VK1WIA's ATV and YouTube channel, this has been WIA National News. We're back now, live and local, and your voice, your callbacks. And don't forget, tick like.